With the Formula 1 2019 season just 14 days away, today we're going to be looking at something a little bit interesting, a little bit different, and something that definitely is going to anger some people in the comments. So I'm looking forward to listening and reading all of those. But today's focus is who is going to be the next new world champion. Now, just quickly, to clarify what I mean by this, I mean someone who has never won the Formula 1 World Championship before. So, obviously, this doesn't include Sebastian Vettel, doesn't include Lewis Hamilton, and doesn't include Kimi Raikkonen or Fernando Alonso. You never know, he might show up once again, but this will include drivers that you can see on the screen now. Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, and more. So first things first, let's just get it out the way. I've put a few honourable mentions up because this list is only 7 drivers long and there are some drivers that didn't quite make the cut. And these are the 3 that I thought, shall I put them on the list, shall I not? And they didn't quite make it. So on the far left, you've got Alex Albon joining Toro Rosso this season. It'll be his rookie year. I think he's got a chance, but it's very unlikely. I think it's going to be quite some time if he'll ever try and even get into a Red Bull seat. So I don't think he's going to be the next new world champion, and I don't really think he's going to be a new champion at all at any point. So he is there. Carlos Sainz as well. I don't think he's quite got that pure talent and that flashy sort of in-your-face skill, A-star talent that I think other drivers on this list do. And Pierre Gasly, it's not necessarily his talent why I've put him in the honourable mentions. I just think he's in a really sticky situation where Red Bull are always going to favour Max Verstappen, and I do think Gasly is going to be number 2 for a number of years. So that is why he is on the honourable mentions list. But you don't want to know about honourable mentions. You've come here to hear who I think is going to be the next new world champion. The order I'm going to do this is the least likely to the most likely. So, first of all, in the list, I've put Antonio Giovinazzi. Again, this is the least likely of all the ones I have singled out, but Giovinazzi, you can see his stats on screen there. Just 2 Grand Prix entered, finishing 12th in his first ever race, which I still think is one of the most underrated performances for quite some time. Crashed in his second race twice in the same place in China back in 2017. His highest grid position is 16th, and born in 1993. This guy is not a young driver, 26 years old. Unfortunately for Gio, doesn't quite have the luxury of time on his side. I've put him on the list because if he's able to squeeze himself into a Ferrari car, if Sebastian Vettel leaves at the end of this year or next year, if he's able to put himself in that position, that is going to be a front-running car. However, I do expect him to be number 2 to Charles Leclerc, and I also expect the majority of the other drivers on this list to get there before him. Next up, Lando Norris. Some people dub this guy as the next Lewis Hamilton. I'm not buying it. I think he's a good driver, Norris. He wouldn't be on this list if I didn't think he was a good driver. But how likely is it that he's going to be our next new world champion? Because let's face it, McLaren, they've been on a backwards trend for quite some time now. And although winter testing has looked good so far, are they going to be winning races this year? Let's be honest, no they're not. Sorry McLaren fans, I hate to say that, but they're not. Norris is going to have to stay at McLaren if he wants any sort of success, because I don't see a space for him at the likes of Ferrari, at the likes of Mercedes. And McLaren do have a fairly solid budget behind them, and there is a chance they could get back to the front. So let's face it, if McLaren does, which is unlikely, if they do work their way back to the front, I can see Norris being their number 1 guy. Bottas. Wow, this is going to annoy some people. I knew it was while I was doing this. Again, he's not like Norris, he's not too high on the list, but I've still put him on the list. And for me, Bottas will always be a number 2 to Lewis Hamilton. That is his role. But if Hamilton leaves at the end of this year, or maybe even next year, will they keep Bottas is the first question. Many people say that he's going to be dropped halfway through 2019. I don't buy that. I think he's a really good driver, and I think he's, well, the perfect driver for what they need him to be right now. But say Hamilton leaves, say Esteban Ocon or George Russell comes into that seat, and if Bottas is alongside them, if Bottas is able to prove the sort of speed he had at Williams, the sort of speed he had at the beginning of last year, and Mercedes have the best car, it's not out of the realms of possibility that this guy could fight for a championship. So I've put Bottas on the list, but again, he's not one of the top names. Someone who I think within the Mercedes family that's got a little bit more of a likely chance of being the next new world champion is George Russell. I haven't really mentioned this as of yet, but a lot of sort of this speculation game that we're doing today depends on other drivers further up in the list not getting their championships either this year or next year, because a driver like Russell, a little bit like Giovinazzi, a little bit like Norris, and I suppose Bottas as well, for this to be the next new world champion, they've got to wait a couple of years. Because Russell, not only is he not in the, I suppose, next in the pecking order for Mercedes, but right now he is not in a car capable of, I suppose, even getting podiums. So this is a long way away for George Russell, but if he's able to impress this year in Williams, so much so that perhaps they get rid of Bottas, that'll jump him up straight away into contention. But I think more likely for Russell is he's going to have to wait for Hamilton to retire. I think still, right now, you'd put Ocon in that Mercedes over Russell because he's not driven a race before. He's unproven. And yes, he's the former Formula 2 world champion, I suppose current Formula 2 world champion at the time of recording this. Is he world championship material? Well, the answer is we don't know. Some drivers like Charles Leclerc jump into a Formula 1 car, struggle initially, but then fourth race in last season, Leclerc proved his speed. Russell could be that guy. He could get points for Williams. Mercedes might take him on in 2020, and who knows? He could be right up there with Hamilton's speed and fighting for the title. Daniel Ricciardo. A lot of people say they're not too sure if he's got the speed to be world champion. I disagree with that. I still believe Ricciardo is one of the best drivers on the grid. Probably would put him in my top 5. I don't think I'd put him top 2, maybe not top 3, but top 5, I think Ricciardo is comfortably in there for me. 29 podiums, one less than Valtteri Bottas, despite the fact he's entered a whole season more. Found that quite interesting. Highest race finish first, 7 wins for Ricciardo already, 3 pole positions. This guy, the only thing missing now from his trophy cabinet is that world championship. And this year he's ditched Red Bull. Red Bull will be a front-running car this year, and he's gone to Renault. This is a bold move for Ricciardo, but the whole reason he's doing it is because, well, first of all, some people say that it's to run away from Max Verstappen, which, to a degree, I don't disagree with that. I think that is an element of it, but primarily, he didn't believe in the Honda program, and he wanted to go to a team, a works manufactured team, that he thinks can bring him to the front. Could Renault be that team? Well, in this hypothetical world we're dealing with today, if Renault do get to the front, I see Ricciardo not only being their number 1 driver, but a really fantastic driver to have in a front-running car who's not only going to give you flashy overtakes, flashy bits of brilliance, he's also going to get you the points. He's going to get you the result and could win a championship. Not the most likely on my list to be the next world champion, but he's definitely up there. There's only 2 drivers I think are more likely to get that, and I'm sure you can already guess who they are. One of them, Max Verstappen, the Flying Dutchman. Already 5 wins in his short career, just 81 races, entered 22 podiums within that time. That's just 7 less than his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, born in 1997, is actually Belgian of birth, which I didn't actually know that. This doesn't add to the video, but just throwing that out there. Max Verstappen, what a talent. The only thing he is missing now is a good car, because I would say he is in the top 2 drivers in Formula 1 in terms of pure outright skill. Doesn't have the experience yet, and whichever way you swing on the Belgium incident last year, making contact with Ocon, he doesn't have experience. And I'm not saying it was Verstappen's fault. No way was it Verstappen's fault, that incident. But he didn't have the experience a driver like Lewis Hamilton would not have made. That arguably a mistake. I'm really trying to tiptoe around this one. But what I'm trying to say is Max now, I think, is of the right age and the right talent, the right skill to be able to fight for a championship. He deserves it. The only thing that I think is going to hold him back this year is a Honda engine, because we know Red Bull are incredible at making chassis and incredible at making cars, but over the past few seasons, while Max has been there, we know the issue has been reliability and the Renault engine just not being good enough on Saturday and on Sunday. So, it could happen this year. If Honda is as good as they're saying, as good as it looks in testing, Verstappen could be champion as early as this year. But the guy I think is most likely to be the next new world champion. I'm sure this doesn't surprise too many people. Maybe some people would have thought I'd have put Max first, but no, Charles Leclerc. What a talent he has proved to be. Only one season under his belt. No podiums yet. Highest race finish of 6th, which came last year in Azerbaijan. He is going to be in what is currently seen as the best car on the 2019 grid next year. His teammate is Sebastian Vettel, and supposedly Ferrari is going to allow both of them to just go at it. Horns at the ready, boys. This is going to be a mighty scrap within Ferrari. And the only way I see this really calming down is if we have sort of a McLaren 2007 sort of situation where one of the drivers could fight for the title, but not both of them. And I can see Hamilton potentially being right up there with Leclerc and Vettel, and the team having to make a choice. And I think that's the only way that, well, Leclerc's not going to be able to do it, because I think he has the speed. And part of me right now, even though he doesn't quite have the experience, something that I outlined with Verstappen just a second ago, experience will be king. But I think on pure speed, Leclerc just has the edge on Sebastian Vettel. And we know Leclerc's qualifying laps haven't quite all come together. So there's still a few things that need ironing out. But we say this all the time. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. And I think Charles Leclerc is definitely in the right place. And I think it's the right time. And I think if it's not this season, I think in a couple of years down the line, he is going to be the key man fighting in the World Championship. So that is my list. Leclerc, I think, is the most likely to be the next world champion. Max Verstappen, though, I think is going to be right up there with him. Is there anyone I missed out? I know I haven't spoke about any of the Formula 2 guys, anyone in the lower categories, but we'll talk about that another day. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Who is most likely to be Formula 1's next new world champion? Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.